So this video is going to walk you through how to interpret a Turnitin report. So currently I am in Schoology. This is the Dropbox that I created for the analytical interpretive essay, and I'm going to click on it. So when you click on the inbox, you'll have all these different columns, and there is information under them, but to protect the students' names, I'm going to be cutting out the author and the title because some students titled their essay their name. So again, the author and title are off to the left here. What we have is uploaded, and that's the date they uploaded. This is if they have viewed it or not. Usually if students know that they haven't plagiarized, they don't bother to look. Similarity, you have greens and blues are really good with the exception of 0%. You really want to have some similarity pop up. Usually 0% indicates an issue either with no quoted material or possibly AI related, which we'll get into. But low blues and greens are good. When you get into the yellows and oranges, that becomes more problematic, and red usually means rewrite. This particular paper popped 69%. So we're going to click on it and see a little bit more about what's going on in that paper. First, I like to check the top. Obviously, we already know the similarity. Flags, which we'll talk about later, but there are no flags on this one, and AI writing, which is on a different report. You actually have to click on this if you want to check AI writing, is 0%. So we're not going to worry about clicking on that for now. So 66, and it lists them from the most to the least. 66 is obviously our greatest piece, and that's probably what I'm going to end up focusing on. Everything else is more incidental, 1% or less. So I'm not going to worry about those. So let's take a look at what came from Course Hero, because that is usually a place where people get a lot of information. You can do this two different ways. You can either look at the number and look at the paper, and it'll match with the number and the color that it's highlighted. Or you can click on this and it'll list what all is in the paper from that particular source, either one. You can also, if you need to, you can exclude a source if you find that it's just messing up everything, which I will probably do with this one, and I'm going to show you why. So I have scrolled down and I asked each student to please provide a copy of their poem that they were using to analyze. And this one is a very long poem, so it made this paper pop really high for plagiarism. Therefore, and I've looked at the rest of the paper, there's nothing else really from here, just the poem was taken. So I will probably end up excluding that source, which will mean that this paper is no longer in high likelihood of being plagiarized. All right, so I'm back in the assignment inbox again, and I want to show you this particular one that's 0%. So we're going to click on it. Again, I'm going to look at the top of the page, similarity 0. We already knew that. No flags. We would know that too. The only thing you won't know is AI writing. That's not listed on the main page. We have 20% here. Now that's not a lot, but that's still pretty high. So we're going to click on that report. When I consider the AI report, I look at a couple of different things. First, is it a sentence here and a sentence there, or is it big blocks of writing? Also, is it the student's voice? Usually, and you have a good judge of that too. Is this the way the student usually writes and speaks? In this case, I did send a warning to the student so that they knew that I had spotted the AI writing, but it was not high enough, in my opinion, to cause the student to have to do a rewrite. So we're back at the assignment inbox again, and I told you I would explain what these flags meant. Usually that just means that there is not enough content to determine if there was plagiarism or not. So when I looked at the breakdown, the report, this is what came up. and it's not even a paragraph, so it didn't have enough to work with. Just a couple of things to wrap up. If after the due date a student needs to resubmit, you will have to come over here under options and click on remove from inbox any old submissions so that they can resubmit. So if you have a plagiarism issue, you're going to want to download that before you hit remove. 2, don't just rely on the similarity report on this page. Make sure you look at each paper on an individual basis. Turnitin makes life so much easier and is a wonderful resource if you use it correctly.